Hello, friends, and welcome back to Malicious Compliance Stories. Moral of our first story, don't park like a jerk. People without paint jobs have nothing to lose by blocking you in. But before we dive in, make sure to hit that subscribe button, smash the like if you enjoy the content, and ring that notification bell so you never miss a juicy story. Parking lot revenge. Several years ago, I lived in a gated apartment complex. I don't know what the builders were thinking when they made the parking lot, but it was a disaster. Each apartment got one reserved covered parking spot, and then there were a few, very, very few, free spots. One early October morning, I got home super late from my job at a haunted house, like 4 a.m. or something. I couldn't find a parking spot anywhere. I drove around and around and around. I did 3 laps of the entire complex looking for a free spot. There were none. No free spots, but some a-hole was taking up 2 spots. Some other poor soul had squeezed in between him and the wall, and they weren't even in a parking spot, just empty space between the wall and the other car. It was a small car, but a tight fit. I considered parking somewhere else and walking home, but I didn't want my car towed or stolen, and I'd have to climb the wall. I was too tired to climb the wall, so I did what I had to do. I rolled down both my windows so I could see the sides of my car more clearly, and I inched my way into the half parking spot that was not taken. It took a lot of back and forth getting the angle right so I didn't scratch the car. I didn't care about my paint job. I didn't even have one. I was driving a crappy old car. Kimi, IDGAF. It took me probably 45 minutes, but I was pretty PO'd and determined. This guy always did this, and I was sick of it. Finally, I got the car in park. It was sandwiched so tightly between the 2 cars that I couldn't even put my hand between my side mirror and their door. It was close enough that my arm wouldn't fit between the cars, let alone my body. I popped the trunk, folded down the seats, and Spider-Man crawled out the back of my car. I took a moment to admire my handiwork. It was beautiful. I was closer to being in the parking spot than he was. I just looked like I was bad at parking. He looked like he'd parked illegally, so if one of us was going to get towed, it'd be him. I felt bad for the guy on my left as I was blocking his passenger side, and he'd have to pull out of the spot before someone could get in. The a-hole, though, had his driver's side blocked. He'd either have to climb in through the trunk or climb over from the passenger side. Served him right, too. Don't take 2 spaces when parking's limited. Now, perhaps the pettiest part of this is that I didn't have to work the next day, or the day after that, or the day after that. I worked nights from Thursday to Sunday, and I slept all day. I'd already done my grocery shopping the day before, and I didn't have anywhere to be for 3 whole days. That car was stuck there for 3 days. I checked every day, it hadn't moved. All the other cars moved, but I had that effort trapped. And our second story. But I wanted a silver laptop. This story dates back to about 9 years ago when I, 31-year-old male at the time this took place, worked as a lead IT technician for a very large multinational company. The company had a range of different laptops available for employees to choose from that were classified by their size and weight. This is important later, including standard laptops, i.e. a typical laptop with a 14-inch screen, as well as lightweight laptops, smaller, thinner, and with a 12.5-inch screen, handy if you're a frequent traveler. Most of these laptops were pretty boring, gray business devices, nothing special to look at. Anyway, one day the computer manufacturer introduced a new lightweight laptop model that was silver in color and far more sleek and good-looking than the previous gray model. We deployed a few of these around the building and soon got a visit from a lady who'd seen one of her colleagues with a shiny new silver laptop and had developed a severe case of shiny device envy. I'll call her Shiny Employee, SE, for the purpose of this story. SE. How do I go about getting one of those smaller laptops? Me. Your current standard laptop isn't due to be replaced yet, but you can request a change to a lightweight laptop on the IT website. Your manager will need to approve it, however. Now, to be honest, I wasn't a particular fan of people who waste the company's money simply by wanting the latest shiny gadget, especially because it creates additional work for my team and involves replacing equipment that's still perfectly functional and within warranty. But I behaved in a professional manner and simply towed the company line. SE walked away, and the next day, an approved request comes through for a lightweight laptop. Fair enough. What she didn't know was that company policy dictated that we only provided a brand new laptop if we didn't have a usable second-hand laptop in stock, i.e. those handed back to IT from people who'd left the company. Being the good IT tech that I am, I scoured our return shelf, and sure enough, there was a used lightweight laptop in stock. Unfortunately for this lady, it was last year's gray model, but rules are rules, so I asked one of my team to prep it for her. She's then told that it's ready and comes along to pick it up. She takes one look at it and promptly throws a tantrum. SE, this isn't the one I wanted. I wanted the silver one. Me, sorry, company policy is that we can only order a new laptop if we don't have a usable second-hand one in stock. SE, but this is not the one I ordered. Me, yes it is. You ordered a lightweight laptop, and this is exactly what we've set up for you. I turn the laptop over and show her the company sticker confirming it to be the same classification of lightweight laptop as her request, and show her that it's physically smaller and lighter than her existing laptop. SE, no, I wanted a new silver one. This is unacceptable. I'm going to complain to your boss. She stormed off in a huff, and I could soon hear her complaining inside my boss's office. Unfortunately, although my boss knew I was just following process, he couldn't handle all the repeated moaning and soon folded and asked me to order a new device for her. I wasn't at all pleased at being overruled when I was simply applying company policy, particularly when it was just a waste of money for an SE that wants the latest silver gadget. So cue malicious compliance time. I could have just scoured our shelf of brand new laptops and dug out a new one for her. We installed dozens of laptops a week. It was a big company, so we always had plenty of new ones in stock. But I was told to order a new one, so that's the process I'd follow. Me. Okay, we can order a brand new silver one for you, but you'll need to raise another request ticket so we can order the laptop from it. I said this knowing full well that this ticket would go to SE's manager once again for approval, a manager who has a finite department budget. Sure enough, an hour later, I get a phone call from SE's manager. Manager, why is SE ordering yet another laptop? Me, she didn't like the color of the laptop we'd prepared for. It was gray and she wanted a silver one. Manager, how much is this going to cost me? Me, well, you'll still be paying the monthly lease costs on SE's original laptop as it wasn't due for replacement, plus the lease cost of the lightweight laptop we prepared for her earlier, and there'll also be the lease cost for this new laptop as well. Manager, oh hell no, I'm not paying for all that. I'll reject this ticket and I'll have a word with her. A short while later, SE returns. She's rather quiet and humble now after being chastised by her boss for trying to waste all his budget in the pursuit of having the latest shiny silver gadget. She quietly accepts the gray lightweight laptop we'd prepared earlier for her and then quickly departs. I spend the rest of the day with a grin on my face. Edit. As this question has been asked, I wanted to clarify something. The laptops are all on monthly leases, and the way it worked was that the lease cost was aligned to the last apartment that had the laptop. Once we redeploy a laptop to someone else, the lease is transferred. So as we'd essentially have her original laptop and rejected laptop sitting on our shelves for a bit, her department would still pay the leases until we gave them to someone else. Even if they're only there for a couple of months, that adds up quite quickly. Either way, it was an unnecessary cost that the manager understandably wanted to avoid. You should put a note in this person's file stating that whenever they're due for a computer replacement, they always get the oldest possible model from this point out. And our last short story. Oh, that's your backyard? Nah, my kids can use it. Two kids had kept coming into my yard to run around and play. They were about 10 and 12, and my yard was the biggest in the entire block. The first time I told them to leave and not to come back. Second time was the same, although a bit louder. Third time, they came with their mother and father demanding to know why I was kicking their kids out of my own effing yard. I told them because I don't want them there and be responsible if they hurt themselves. I've now given them strict verbal warnings to not return, or I will call the police for trespass. Oh yeah, they came back half an hour later when I went out for a run. I came home, went to the kitchen to grab a drink, and boom, there they were. I was straight onto the phone with police about how two unattended kids are trespassing on my yard for the third time after I'd spoken to the parents. Cops came out about 20 minutes later. I didn't confront the kids as I wanted them to be there for the cops, as I also didn't know where they lived. Knocked on the front door and spoke to me. I told them they're still there and I want them gone and the mother spoken to. They spoke to the cops and took them back to their house. I had peace and quiet for about 30 minutes until bang, bang, bang on my door. Yuppers, it was the parents again. They went off their nut at me for calling the police. I reminded them that I warned them I would, and they utterly ignored it, so they got a visit from the police. The cops had apparently told the parents to work it out with me, and that if they were called back for the same reason, then a couple pretty serious charges would be laid. So they demanded I give their kids written permission to play in my yard. LMAO, WTF. After they screamed their lungs at me, they thought I'd just give them permission? I told them to F off and never even step onto my property again. The next day, I finally went to Bunnings, hardware store in Australia, and bought a heavy-duty lock to put on my gate. They were not happy. Once again, kids came around and tried to open the fence but saw it was locked. They screamed, "F you!" and went towards their house. 10 minutes later, just the mother this time and the two kids pounded on my door again. I simply opened the door, told them I'm calling the cops, and slammed the door in their faces. And I did call the cops, all the while the mother's basically trying to break down the door. This time they came out faster, about 10 minutes. I later found out they were actually pretty close by, and spotted the three of them walking back to their house and told them to come back to my house to talk. One officer talked to me and the other to them. I quoted the incident number from the day before so he could get up to speed and retell my side. As I'm finishing up, the mother screams out to me that I had apparently given them written consent and permission to play in my yard and then locked it just to spite them. Both the police officer and I asked to see the written consent because I knew it didn't exist, but the cops have to follow up on every claim, I guess. Surprisingly, she pulled out a piece of paper that said something to the effect of, "I, the owner of address, do hereby grant kids' names, permission, and consent to freely and openly play in my backyard. I also take full responsibility for their safety while in my yard." It was signed by a signature that didn't even resemble my real one. It'd be like comparing the logos of Starbucks and McDonald's. I burst out laughing and asked her if she really just tried to forge the signature of someone she didn't even know the name of. I could see the cops have a slight look of bewilderment and amazement at the level of this woman's stupidity. They asked if I wanted to press charges for obvious reasons, and I gladly said yes. Court went for only 3 sessions, and the mother was sentenced. I don't remember the exact length, but it was at least 6 years, and this was about 5 years ago, so that crazy woman is not too far away from getting us out. Watch out, guys. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.